Have you ever had your heart broken? If you're a cricket fan, you did so 59 days ago. It's been 59 days since that dreaded World Cup final loss. That scar shall never heal, unfortunately. However, if we look ahead, 140 days to go for India's T20 World Cup opener. Two men who have broken hearts, I'm sure. They've never been heartbroken. Two very suave, good-looking men, Rohan Gavaskar and Joy Bhattacharjya. He continues to get ignored by people from your part of the world, sir. What's the story? Rohan's such a lovely guy, sir. What's happening?
Yeah, even I want to know.
We Gurgaon people, we don't talk to men. It's a policy decision.
But also, Joy, I just want to say he's given away his age. When he said, oh, this World Cup defeat has left scars. Clearly, it's not the first cut, because the first cut is always the deepest.
It is.
1987, 1996.
2003, sir.
वही तो कह रहा हूँ ना. That's what I'm saying. For you, those scars are yet to heal.
Correct.
So,
but the latest scar, hopefully will get healed to some extent if India wins that T20 World Cup. But that's for later. Tonight is India's last international game before that World Cup. India has won the toss. Now, Rohit Sharma looked in a very chirpy mood. We saw a few visuals of that a little while ago, talking to Cricbuzz's very own Zahir Khan and Parthiv Patel. I'm sure he hasn't looked at recent numbers, recent form, the kind of guy he is. Would he worry about how in the last 3 T20Is he hasn't scored too many runs? Is he the kind of guy who would think about those things?
well, look, I think it's always in the back of any batter's mind when you're not scoring runs. It doesn't matter if you're Rohit Sharma, you're Sachin Tendulkar, Virat Kohli, Sunil Gavaskar. It doesn't matter. If you're not scoring runs, it will be at the back of your mind.
Yep.
And for a player of his ability, it hurts more.
Yep.
You know, because he, as a player, will know like this, I'm so much more capable of producing far better numbers. So that hurts more.
Yep.
So while it may not affect him and his sort of the process that he'll have before a match or how he's going to prepare for a game or prepare for an innings, I don't think that will affect it. But it's not like he's not thinking about it. There will be thoughts on how do I get out of this rut.
Yeah, unfortunate run out in that first game. Tried to go for a big shot out without scoring as well. So he hasn't scored a run in this year in white ball cricket. Will those two innings make him rethink his approach? Should it? Not at all?
Not at all. Look, here's my belief. My belief is that when he played that World Cup semi-final in 22, it was 22, right?
Yep.
And he would have figured out that this is not the way. India cannot win consistently if Virat and me play the way we played that time, especially me. So he went and he tinkered with his game. He thought about it and he came back. If you see this World Cup, he was the enforcer up front.
Yep.
You know, he was a ruthless attacker up front, and that's really worked for India. Let's leave the final aside. That is really the campaign for India. The tone in every match was set by Rohit Sharma and the way he batted.
Yep.
So clearly he's not going to change that. That has made all the difference. And one of the reasons I believe he's wanted to play this World Cup is because he feels he can bring that kind of batting form to the T20 World Cup to help us maybe win a trophy. So I think there's no question of his changing his approach. There's no question. I think he's taking another chance because he feels that his current approach is what T20 cricket requires.
So bang on.
Yeah.
But it's not, the point is it's just not happening.
Yeah.
So my only conundrum in my head is that two things can happen, okay? One is that Rohit will hit form at some point or the other. Or if he hits form, all is well. In which case, India has a different question. Who is going to captain?
Yeah.
Okay. If he does not hit form, then I think it's going to be more a chat between him and selector saying, it doesn't make sense then for me to be on that plane. Because if I'm not a confirmed starter, I don't think Ajit and Co will get him onto the plane unless he's a confirmed fast 11.
Also, I just want to make one point here about, his approach. We spoke about this, I think, in the first show. I think one of the reasons why both Rohit and Virat are playing is because they're eyeing the World Cup trophy.
Yeah.
Now, both Rohit and Virat know that to get that trophy, they have to bat in this manner, the 2024 T20 style. So he's not thinking about personal runs here. Neither is Virat. They're thinking about the best approach and the best way for them to score runs, which will enable India to win. So whether he gets 0-5, it doesn't matter, because in that World Cup, if he plays 2 or 3 match-win innings, that's all you need. So
it does set the tone for India. Let me stir the pot a little bit. Rohit Sharma, by his own standards, has not had a great IPL. The last 4 seasons, in fact, of which MI won one, which was the year 2020. Twice they finished in the league stage, couldn't qualify. In 23, they qualified for the playoffs and couldn't go further. Now, in neither of those seasons has he gone past 400 runs. Is that a sign of Rohit perhaps having too many cobwebs in his head? Will he be better served if Hardik's captain, which he is, and playing without the burden of captaincy? Will that unshackle or unleash another gear in Rohit?
Well, I'm not sure if it'll unleash another gear. It may well do, but it's not like Rohit is not used to captaincy, or we've not seen Rohit perform when he's captain. Yeah. Captaincy and the responsibility of captaincy sometimes brings out the best in players.
Yeah.
That added responsibility, saying that I'm going to lead from the front, I'm going to set an example, that brings out the best in players. And we've seen that in the past with Rohit. With regards to those numbers, the one thing that I want to see in this year's IPL is not whether he gets to 500 runs or 600 runs, is whether that strike rate goes from 130 to 145, 150.
Yeah.
Because that's what you want from your opener.
Yeah.
We've seen Yashasvi Jaiswal's numbers, and if you look at his strike rate, it's about 150 plus.
Yeah.
So ideally, that's what you want. Someone getting that strike rate of 145, 150. Whether he scores, on an average, if he scores 25,
yeah,
and his average is 25 in 12 balls or 13 balls, that's job well done.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Because you've gotten your team off to a flying start, and then the rest capitalize on it.
Yep.
So forget the average for the moment. Let's just focus on that strike rate as an opener. If it gets to about 145 in this IPL, I think that's job well done.
The IPL aside, on pedigree, on experience, on his sheer presence, is he going to be on that flight for you? Yes, no?
Just one word?
Rohit,
Oh,
in yes or no?
Oh, yes or no? Yes.
Okay, right. What will matter though is the first month of the IPL, because if the T20 World Cup starting first week of June, and I suppose the Indian team will be announced about a month before that happens, so I suppose Rohit and the others will have about 40 days to prove their form, so say 7 or 8 games, Joy?
Yeah, 6-7 games definitely, 7-8 hopefully, it depends on the schedule. But look, the point is that it is really how he feels in his head about it. If he feels he's not, I feel Rohit is at a stage where if he feels he's not contributing, he'll make that call. He'll make
to not go.
He'll make that call to go or not go, because I find it'll be a very difficult. He'll really have to do really badly for him not to be on the flight if he shows his availability. I feel if he gets even 1 or 2 big innings, they cannot take him off that flight. And if he's going, he's playing, as Rohan has very rightly said.
Yep.
If he's going to go, he's going to play.
Yep.
Look, I believe that there are 2 parts to it. One is, I believe, if you look at the World Cup, he was captain in the World Cup. That obviously didn't impact his form. Okay? Yeah. He was absolutely fantastic. He did the most important role for India, setting the tone of the innings every time around that he batted. Yeah. It didn't hurt him at all. Yeah. I feel that the last couple of years, last 2-3 years in MI, he's had very lopsided teams, perhaps because of somebody like Bumrah not being there, Archer not being there, attacks not being there. For me, actually, probably one of the greatest feats of playing in captaincy was for MI to reach the semi-finals last year.
Yeah.
Have you seen the team they reached the semi-finals with? Yeah. With that team, they were top 4 among 10 teams. So, look, I think in his head, perhaps you're right, that getting that out of his head might be useful for him for a while. But I don't think in captaining India that has ever impacted his form.
Very often, we forget the finer details of why a player performed the way he did. And I suppose tonight's a chance for Rohit to put to rest any question marks that anyone might have. Maybe with a big one tonight, India has won the toss, and for a change, they've chosen to bat first. We'll talk about that as well. 3 changes for India, as expected. We did think that there will be changes. Sanju Samson, Avesh Khan, and Kuldeep Yadav have come in. Out go Akshar Patel, and Ravi Bishnoi is still there.
Jitesh goes out.
And Jitesh goes out. Shivam Dube continues to play. I suppose they want to see a little more of him. Rohan, what do you make of these changes?
Well, I think we knew Avesh would get a game at some point or the other in this series.
Yep. Arshdeep's out.
Arshdeep's out. Sanju, we spoke about the fact that he hasn't played a T20 since Ireland.
Yeah.
So if he's in your scheme of things, if you're looking at him as someone who might be on that flight to the Caribbean and the USA, you've got to give him a game.
Yeah.
So he gets a game. So I mean, changes along expected lines. I thought Shivam Dube might get a bit of a break.
Yes.
Because he's already shown what he can do.
Yep.
There's nothing for him or the Indian team to gain, other than the fact that maybe just like Yashasvi Jaiswal, what they want from Shivam Dube is more international experience.
Yeah.
Listen, go out
Fair
there,
point.
get that international experience.
Fair
That's all. That's the only reason maybe he's playing, because they want him and Yashasvi to feel as comfortable as possible in the international arena.
My producer just told me that the moment Sanju Samson's name was announced, there was a loud cheer for him. There is a bit of a soft corner for Sanju Samson, especially on social media.
Absolutely, and also, I mean, A, social media, B is that, Kerala hasn't produced that many international top-level cricketers, and the way Sanju plays, it always looks as if he's been hard done by, because you see he'll get a century. I've seen him as a 13-year-old in a KKR camp in 2010, so I've seen him from that time. And the thing about him is he's just such a talent. He's just such an amazing talent that even when he performs very well, you still feel that he's not performed according to his talent. The second is that he has, like a David Gower and some top international players, he has a very languid style. I mean, he makes it look so easy. Players like that, the problem is you look at them and say, he's not trying hard enough. And the truth is he's just so very graceful.
Well, Kuldeep Yadav's in as well, but we will talk about Kuldeep during our mid-game show. And when we look ahead to India bowling or defending, whatever the batter scored. What about Afghanistan? They still have a couple of series to go before the World Cup. They've made a lot of changes. It's a brand new bowling lineup. Sharafuddin Ashraf, Qais Ahmed, Mohammad Salim Safi and Farid Ahmed Malik have come in. How do you see these 4 changes? Is it for them about giving these guys international game time?
I would think so. I would think, look, also the fact that, they're saying we haven't really set this series on fire with the previous attack. Might as well give these guys a little bit of game time and see how they go. Sometimes, wholesale changes can work. In a team sport like cricket. In a team sport like football, you make wholesale changes, everything can go haywire. But a team sport like cricket, which is probably the most individualistic team sport, wholesale changes can work. So they've gone for 4 changes over there, and like you said, Manish, that maybe it's because let's give these guys some game time against one of the best teams in the world.
Let's have a look at the team again, because I'm interested in seeing I'm just trying to figure out what they're thinking. And I just want to see the team again, because you look at it, they have not. The interesting thing is that they have dropped Mujib as well.
Fazal Haq Farooqi is out.
Naveenul Haq, Fazal Haq Farooqi, Mujib is out,
and
Noor are out. All the 4 bowlers are out. The only bowler who's retained his place is literally Nabi, and then the all-round, fast bowling all-rounders, the medium pace all-rounders.
Karim Jannat.
Omarzai and Jannat. And Gulbuddin, who can also bowl on occasion. So, interesting. That means somewhere they feel that of these... See, it's an interesting one. If this match result doesn't matter. The interesting one is, say you have 3 fast bowlers who you want to try out. You have 1 match, you might as well try out all 3.
There's a left-arm pacer, there is a right-arm pacer, there is a leg spinner and a left-arm orthodox. So there's a fair bit of variety there as well. Now, Jonathan Trott, who became famous for his whiteboard during that ODI World Cup, has not minced his words. He knows that Afghanistan can't really be living in the past. This is what he said. Now take a look at what he said in that yellow. So we do well for one game and don't do it in the next. He's clearly referring to their inconsistency as a side. We take a while to get into rhythm. Typically, we talk about how Afghanistan are a much stronger force in this format, and yet they're a bit patchy. Isn't that strange?
Well, I think it's, sometimes when you come up against one of the powerhouses of world cricket, India, can happen. You put in a good performance, with the bat. For a team like Afghanistan, like I said, they're my second favorite team. What they really need to beat India is for everything to click. You can't have one department clicking, where your bowling's done really well and then your batting falters, or your batting's done really well and your bowling falters. You need every department at this stage of as a nation, their developmental stage, then you need everything to click to beat a team like India.
Is it us mistaking their individual form in this format as what the team is? Because Afghanis do well in T20 cricket when they play for their franchise sides, but as a team, they haven't done as well as they should. The sum of all parts is not as good as
So Afghanistan is a very interesting history. If you look at Afghanistan is, if you look in total record time, it's the total records, because remember, all T20 internationals are international matches.
Yeah.
Okay, all of them are recognized international matches.
Yeah.
They have an amazing record because in the beginning they would only play associate nations. So they had 15 wins in a row. They were the bullies of the associate nation world before they reached to the top status. So they were used to doing that. The big question mark against them was the fact that they didn't know how to play one-day international cricket. They used to throw away their wickets very early. So my belief is that they have discovered this World Cup was when they discovered how to bat for one-day international cricket.
Yeah.
Now they're trying to discover the switch back to go back to T20 cricketers again. Because this tournament was the first time, you look at the record of Afghanistan, they actually batted the way you bat in ODI cricket. They took their time, they took their runs. I think it's just difficult for them to change gears back again to T20. And I think when they're trying to do that, they're either trying to go too fast or they're slowing down.
Yep. Also, the bowling hasn't been able to stop the Indian batting juggernaut in the first two games. The batters, of course, didn't put enough runs on the board. And in the absence of Rashid, it looks like this side's bowling performance, especially the spinners, is about no Rashid, no magic, as the graphics suggest.
Look, listen, with someone like Rashid, it doesn't matter which team he's playing for. You take Rashid out of whichever team, that team's going to weaken.
He makes it a 16-over game.
No, absolutely. There was a time when Sunil Narayan was that guy, where you thought Sunil Narayan, that's basically when you're coming up against Sunil Narayan, it's 20 overs for you and 16 overs when you bat. 20 overs when you bowl, 16 overs when you bat. It's the same with Rashid. Okay, so and especially for a team like Afghanistan, you take him out of, he's their talisman.
Yeah.
He's the guy that everyone looks up to and says, oh boy, you're the guy, man, you're the guy. Even if it's coming to batting low down the order, he's got that ability to.
He's won matches.
Yeah, he's won matches. So, look, he's their talisman. If you take him out, obviously it's going to affect the team.
Yep.
But, look, it's an opportunity for others. It's an opportunity for others. And we'll see how Kes Ahmed does today, because, again, he's a young bowler with a lot of potential. We've seen him in leagues around the world. He's got a lot of potential. Let's see how he goes against the strong Indian
Look at that.
batting lineup.
15 plus franchises. He's a bit of a T20 Globetrotter, Joy.
Yeah.
It's also his big stage, bowling to a really powerful Indian batting lineup, which has Virat and Rohit and Dubey and Jaiswal in terrific form on a small ground, 60 meters on one side, 66 on the others. There can't be a bigger T20 test than
and for him, it's
here.
important because right now, if you see Afghanistan, they like to play with a three-spinner role,
Yeah.
And obviously, Rashid's going to be that first spinner. And Mujib has done so well, and Mujib's great ability is that he can bowl with the new ball as well. He can bowl in the early stages, he can bowl the late stages. So that leaves you one slot.
Yeah.
And Noor is already there. So his thing is to say, can I move myself into that slot? And he's a real talent. Now, that is the battle, because I think Rashid's place is fixed. And Mujib's ability to be able to bowl up front is a very important thing for them.
Well, there are cricket shows in this world which talk about things other than Virat Kohli. It's been 17 minutes and we haven't even mentioned a man who's coming back to play at what is his den. He's RCB's very own golden boy Virat Kohli, who is about 12 runs away, I think, from 12,000, 6 runs away in fact, from 12,000 T20 runs. Everything that can be said has been said about him. But in that last game, Rohan, we saw him score 29 gorgeous runs off of 16 deliveries. It was perhaps what one might call an Instagram reel version of Kohli. Chota packet, bada dhamaka, if you like.
A bit like you. Hey, because you're big dhamaka, brother.
No.
You're big dhamaka.
For now, Kohli.
I've been out with you. Have you ever had a night out with Manish?
What you saying?
He is.
He took me out to a fancy place.
He is the biggest dhamaka you can experience.
My family's watching, Rohan, so let's focus on Kohli for now.
So yeah, look, that innings that we saw from Virat, again, I think, maybe the selectors, maybe, the team management, maybe he himself, players of that ability, that sort of mindset know what they have to do.
Yeah.
How they need to sort of switch gears, how they need to switch templates. Joy spoke about the fact that maybe Afghanistan are struggling to go from one format to the other.
Yeah.
The great players never have that format. You wake him up tomorrow and tell him to play test cricket, he'll be out there grinding.
Yeah.
You tell him to play one-day cricket, the day after a test match, he'll know exactly how to sort of switch.
Yeah.
So for him also to switch from his what has been his style of batting throughout T20 to suddenly be a little bit more aggressive. honestly, for someone of his ability, it's not a problem.
Yeah.
And he showed that in the last T20 International.
Yes, also he's looking a lot more relaxed on Instagram. Otherwise, we see him traveling at airports. He's happy to, wait for selfies with fans. A happy Kohli is also a dangerous Kohli for bowlers across the planet.
Exactly. Look, he's been through perhaps one of the most difficult slumps in international cricket.
Yeah.
Over 4 years, he didn't get 3 years, he didn't get a century.
Yeah.
And that's a huge period for somebody with 70 centuries, odd centuries before that.
Yeah.
He's come back from that. He's given up the captaincy of his team, of his IPL franchise. He's given up international captaincy. He's no longer bothered about it. So it's all about just him going, playing his game. He has no other responsibility, he has no other worries.
Yeah.
I think that's where he's at. He's at a very good space. He's at a very good space, and you're right, he's very dangerous here because all he's worried about is going there and having a good time and playing well for India, winning tournaments for India, winning World Cups for India. That's all he's worried about.
Yep.
And I think it's great because there's a time for intensity, and the way he drove himself over the last 6, 7, 8 years to take India where it is, not just as an ODI team, but people look at the ODI and say, didn't win a World Cup.
Yeah.
The kind of things India has done in test match cricket in the last 10 years, it's probably the best test matches we have ever played in our life, the best we have played test match cricket in our lives.
Yeah.
And I think that is something that you have to look at it. So he's a free man now, and beware of a free man. He's a free radical, as they say in chemistry. Beware of a free radical.
We've seen his exploits in Test cricket. He is clearly the best ever chaser in ODI cricket, Rohan. But is this format one that perhaps deep down pinches him? I know the game is in Bangalore, so I suppose RCB fans will not want me to remind him that there is no IPL trophy. He hasn't won a T20 World Cup. Is this format one that maybe pinches him deep down? And is that the reason he wants to be on that plane to New York?
When you say, is this a format that pinches him, do you mean in terms of his batting ability?
Yeah.
No, in terms of having won something big.
He's got lots of numbers. I have one number for you, 973.
Yeah.
No, in terms of having won,
400s, that's
having won something big. Because it's a team sport.
So in the sense, like RCB haven't won an IPL.
Yeah.
And he's
being
not
a
been
part of a winning team, because he's always been a team man, right?
Look, I think that holds true not just for him, but for any player.
Yeah.
Ask me, my biggest regret in cricket is that I haven't won the Ranji Trophy.
Yeah.
I've got to the finals twice. I've got to the semi-finals on a couple of occasions, and my biggest regret is not having won the Ranji Trophy. So any player who's playing a team sport, their biggest regret will not be winning the big trophy.
Yeah.
I don't think about 100 I've missed as much as I think about the opportunities that we had as a team, Bengal had in winning the Ranji Trophy. So I think, yes, it's something, I won't say a regret, but it's something that maybe, at the back of his mind thinking, I need to win a trophy. I've done everything else that I can in this game.
Yeah.
That can be expected of me. So winning a T20 trophy would be great. But look, in terms of his batting, in T20 cricket, and I've said this before, he's lucky enough to have started, not formative years, but we were still young enough when T20 came about.
Correct. Yeah. I totally agree with you.
That he could, with his ability, with his genius-like ability, he could make that transition quickly.
Yeah.
It's an era where you're born in that determines whether, which format player you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sachin Tendulkar, what a player in Test cricket and ODI cricket.
Yeah.
Because that was, T20 cricket came when Sachin was towards, the middle and latter half of his career.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he was in a way set in his ways of how to sort of bat and even then Sachin's got a T20 100 for Mumbai Indians.
Yeah.
So it just depends. Sachin would have been a phenomenal T20 player if he was born in this era with the natural ability that he has. I firmly believe that my dad would have been a phenomenal ODI player along with Test cricket if he was born maybe 15 years later.
Yeah.
Because these players, there are certain players who are right at the top, have that genius-like ability to switch. We spoke about Virat being able to switch from format to format. It's how you learn the basics at a certain age, in those formative years. What you're taught, what your mindset is. Gets a little difficult later on.
Yeah.
Again, if I may so, my dad's strike rate in ODIs is about 65, which for that generation are very good numbers.
Yeah, his second last ODI was 103 in 1999.
Yeah, so even what I'm trying to say is that even he managed to sort of, switch it around from, say the 80s or whatever, because these kind of players have that ability.
Well, Virat Kohli will be in action at a ground that loves him. He loves the ground as well. Chinnaswamy and Virat Kohli are a love story like no other. You've got a favorite ground as well?
Well, I don't have a favorite ground, but I do have a story where a ground's concerned. Since we were just talking about dad just now, I did a two-way interview with him once. I was in the studio like that. He was at the ground. So we were doing a two-way interview with me, looking at him and talking to him at the ground. He was at the Eden Gardens. So the question I did ask him, this was an IPL game. The question I did ask him was, how does it feel to probably stand on the only ground where I've scored more runs than you? But I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure if that's true though. Because he's got 2 test match hundreds in 2 back-to-back hundreds in a test match. I think he's got a 340 against Bengal. So look, he may have got runs, but I still think I may have a few more runs at Eden Gardens than he does.
Only Rohan Gavaskar dare do that. On air to Sunny Sir. He's a brave man.
He's a brave man.
No,
He's a brave man.
I'm not a brave man. I'm just a loving son.
Yes, that you are. Well, India have chosen to bat first, and that's something we spoke about in that last game as well. Joy, it's good that India won the toss once again, and they've chosen to bat. A different kind of test for India.
Yeah, different kind of test. And I think this is the thing. I've talked about it so many times, but I cannot stress it more. These are the kind of games in which a Rohit going into bat, if he lasts a bit of time, or a Virat, has to come back the first drinks break or the first time somebody takes out the gloves to say, this is a 180 wicket, this is a 200 wicket, this is a 220 wicket.
Yeah.
Because setting runs up front is all about knowing how much you're going to go for. And I think that's what, you might set yourself to 180, you might reach 200.
Yep.
But you've mentally said that I'm going to reach 180.
Yep.
And it requires class players to do it. Rohit does it very well. For KKR, Jacques Kallis used to do it.
Just to add what Joy was saying, and this is such an important point, that line of communication between the players out there in the middle and those in the dressing room. Shan Masood was telling me, in that World Cup final, another 20 runs and they would have won. And he's saying, while we are batting, we always thought that maybe, 130, 135 would be this thing. But someone that, once we got there, we should have said, no, listen, if we can get to about 150, 155, what did they get? He was saying basically they got about 20 runs. They were 20 runs shy.
Short, They were 150.
They were 20 runs shy. I don't remember what the score was, but he's saying we were about 15, 20 runs shy.
Yeah.
And that was because of a little bit of a lack of communication.
Yeah, but India has spoken about the kind of brand of cricket they want to play, especially in this format. Is that brand going to be tested more batting first? Because you're trying to set the tempo or set the tone for the game. Is batting first a bigger test of that brand? Or is it the same?
No, I think they'll be fine. I think when you look at the batting ability that this team possesses, not just one player, it's all the way down. Yashasvi, Rohit, Virat, Surya Kumar when he comes in, Rinku, Hardik, Shivam. Then you've got someone like Aksar lower down the order. The kind of batting depth and batting ability. When I say batting ability, it's your ability in this format to hit sixes.
Yeah.
All these guys have that ability to hit sixes.
Yep.
And that's key. That's key. They've got that ability. You need 32 in the last 2 overs, 16 and over. Any of those top 6, whether it's Virat, Rohit, Yashasvi, Surya Kumar, Rinku, whoever.
Yep.
If one of them's there, you still got hope.
Yeah.
You're still thinking, this guy can do it.
Yeah.
Because he's got that 6-hitting ability.
Yep.
So I don't think whether you're batting first or bowling first, that's really going to make a difference.
Right. Now time for you to focus. Get your pen and paper out. Make a note of a very, very difficult Joy Factor question that Mr. Bhattacharjya has for us today.
Yeah, this is actually given to me by one of the producers, Bihan. And I thought it was a good question. So I was lazy and I just put it in. But thank you, Bihan. If it was Alan Border in ODIs in 1987 and Alan Border for test matches in 1993, who is it for T20 internationals and in which year?
Rohan has his penchant for hitting bullseye in the Cricbuzz studio, sir.
So what was the question again?
Alan Border in ODIs in 87.
Yeah.
Alan Border for test matches in 93. Who is it for T20 internationals and in which year? Okay, I will give him
pregnant pause.
No, is it something?
Okay,
go.
Wait for it. Wait for it.
Do I wait for it and say it off air?
Okay, we'll discuss it off air then.
Okay.
I think Rohan's got it.
No, I don't. I'm just going to make a guess over here. So
Let's allow our viewers to send in their entries as well, and we shall reveal the answer in our post-game show. Before we say goodbye, quick prediction, gentlemen. First innings, India batting first.
Chinnaswamy batting first, 210.
do I need to make a prediction?
I know, he's a king
Yeah,
of prediction.
196.
Okay, I'm going to go with Richie Beno's favorite number, 222.
At least say it like Richie Beno.
I can't, sir. I can't, sir. Not enough.
Chew, chew.
222. So make a note of that. Send in your entries as well, and we're done for now. We go grab some coffee and some idli vada. Yeah, and we'll be back.
People will think, time stands still in the Cricbuzz studio. It's 7 o'clock and it's like breakfast menu. Coffee, idli, vada.
सब चलता है.
Time stands still.
यहाँ पे सब चलता है. Thanks to Wasim Bhai who takes such good care of us. So we'll see you at the 10 over mark on Cricbuzz Combox. Bye for now.